Oh, snap. Okay, I'm going to do the clap thing.
All right, go ahead.
You ready? Hold on. Is this camera making me look big? All right.
Get my good side.
Quiet on set. There you go. It actually, okay, it started off as a meme, but it actually has been helping me join the audios together.
I mean, it is with the, little clacker thing. That's what it's for.
Bro, we have to get one of those.
Ooh, you could have like a psychedelic one with like red and blue and some pills on it. Ooh,
custom made one?
We could make a custom made one, dip it.
What do you think? I made out of fucking money?
No, you can just make it. Like, make it. Not like...
How? From what? Wood?
Yeah, anything. Fiberglass, whatever you want to do. Get fancy. Aluminum.
Fiberglass. Where am I going to find fiberglass? Where can you find fiberglass?
What type of... I think there's some type of cabling or whatever with fiberglass in it.
Okay, I understand the fiberglass exists. What I'm asking is... I'm not getting that.
Teflon.
It's gone forever.
Teflon.
Where am I going to find enough cable for me to, like... get enough fiberglass for this to be a valid thing?
Interwebs.
What? Okay, what about the tools to make the thing?
Your hands.
I hate you.
Only tools you need.
Oh,
think about it.
Sharpen a chicken bone into a saw, and just fucking.
All you need is a rock.
Goddamn.
You know what? Since this is becoming more lucrative, I'm gonna for real get serious with the music, right? So I'm gonna. No, seriously, I don't think. I think Raul.
We've heard this before.
No, listen. I think our buddy also thought that like I was bullshitting with it, and then I sent him what I made. And he's like, okay, shit, it's actually pretty decent. So like I'm gonna make something like I got something going already, but I'm gonna get it to the point where it's like listenable, and then I'm gonna send it to you so you can hear like the intro I've made. Because even my girl was like, I'm surprised.
Wait, you made an intro for the podcast?
So I'm gonna make something that's like, I'm gonna try to make something where we can, how do you say, just like how we got the music just something. So it's gonna have an intro, and then it's gonna go into like a lo-fi background.
Oh,
and then
hell
it'll end with like a,
Okay.
So like the beginning, the beginning is pretty decent. So I want to, get some feedback on it.
It's gonna be like do 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 do.
It's an intro, like
between red and blue
like
pill and MV.
Kind of like your thing you got going on. Yeah,
that
it's one of those, like not exactly, but that sound.
Yeah.
That
I dig it. I approve. But I am red and I approve of this message.
But the reason I'm saying this is because, like, when it comes to the music shit, like in no form am I an artist, right? I've never studied music. I just do everything off ear. But
right.
I have these weird like dreams sometimes where like I can hear the music.
Holy shit.
And I'm trying to like put it out, but like once I wake up, like the melody and stuff.
So your dreams are more audible than visual.
Yes.
1000%.
Like I can literally hear music.
This might turn into a Red's rabbit hole. With it's funny though that Red's rabbit hole's main purpose for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome to another episode of this bullshit odyssey. I don't know where we're gonna go with this. I would usually say this is another episode of Between Red Blue Pill with the side of Envy, with Envy being absent today. Yeah, she can go suck it. But Red's Rabbit Hole is a segment of our main podcast, and what we do is we interview content creators, and we kind of like delve into the minds of content creators to see what makes them work. I am of a strong belief that creating content is kind of like almost divine. Of the theos, because you're manifesting an idea, a brainchild, a thought child into existence, right? It's not that it doesn't exist, because it exists in the folds of your brain, and then you manifest it physically. It's almost as if I were to say ice, and then just manifesting the physical thought of ice in my hand. But this is with content, because you have a vision of content, and then you manifest it in the same way that you saw it. That to me is fucking crazy, and I don't think a lot of people that either know about it, like talk about it in the sense of how crazy it is. It's kind of like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi it's an insane thing. wireless internet, wireless connectivity, and everyone takes it for granted nowadays. It's just like, oh yeah, it's fucking Wi-Fi. This Wi-Fi sucks.
Norm.
Bro, your little data information is flying from your phone to space back to you and talking to you.
While trying not to interfere with other frequency, you know what I mean? Like, and not even like the same level of like, you know, internet data. Like,
Holy
there's
shit.
so many other frequencies going on. Yeah.
It's crazy, but that to me is content creation. So you know what I'm gonna call it? This is a very, very long overdue special episode of Red's Rabbit Hole with featured guest, and I'm not gonna call him Blue. I'm gonna call him by his artist name, Bag of Space Dust.
All right, I'll take it.
You'll take
Don't nobody know that alias yet, but yeah, we'll get it out there.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I mean, by the time, let's be honest, by the time
copyright
that, get my lawyers on the line. Bag of Space Dust. So I want us. So usually I start off the Red's Rabbit Hole segment by kind of exploring who the artist is.
Okay.
So this is Ground Zero. Don't take any information that we've already delved into between Red and Blue Pill with the side of Envy. I want to know who Bag of Space Dust is. Who came? What created? What manifested Bag of Space Dust into the realm of reality?
I mean, kind of going off of what you just said, it's almost divine. I mean, not saying that like I'm gonna make something that
my man's
is divine.
Jesus.
Yeah, not saying I'm like, you know, a piece of that, but like it's something like, it's almost like a lot of people say like you're a channel. Yeah, it's not me doing it. Something is coming through me and then producing this. I'm just you know, the middleman.
You're just the instrument,
basically. Because like it's almost like, in, I hate to keep saying it on like a divine level, it's almost like an angelic thing. Like I hear whatever's going on and however it's been transmitted to me. Yeah, and then I'm able to, or at least I try to match sounds that we have to, you know, almost imitate exactly what I heard. Obviously it's not going to be the same, but close enough, right? Okay. And I don't know, I'm trying to stick to this, like I don't knock anybody who does any type of music learning or, you know, go to some type of schooling for it, but at the same time you can't really teach creativity, right? It goes beyond
like a scholar point of view. It's something you feel that manifests within you, that you kind of try and make it, you try and hit the target as close as it is on the wall, right? But it's never quite there, right? But it's
kind of like I hate to paraphrase somebody else, but like archery, right? They say when you're doing archery, you can't aim and then shoot. You have to aim and shoot at the same time, right?
Holy shit.
So if you're trying to learn something and then be creative, you can't learn the music and be creative. You know what I mean? It has to happen at the same time. So that's why I'm not trying to learn music. I don't want to know notes or anything. I'm going completely off of ear and then making it sound good. Okay, so kind of hard. But
before we delve into your creative process, I want to know, like, what got you into creating music? I mean, actually, before even that, why music? Like, what woke you up from from being okay with just listening to great sounds to having this hunger to manifest your own?
I think it's kind of thing, like, I mean, always growing up, I like music. I love dancing. I probably dance every single day of my life.
I'm a man's a dancer.
No, seriously, every day of my life I dance. And then, like, I guess kind of like coming full circle with like nowadays my spirituality, it's one of those things where, like, I mean, if we're gonna go with communication, like, as a child you learned how to communicate, you learn English, right? But beyond that, I think the communication of the universe is sound and, you know, a musical type of, you know, flow, right?
Well, call back to our other episode. We do know that the universe has a frequency. The earth has a frequency that kind of like harmonizes with other, and that's why we have the rule of like what is like the divine frequency, like 4400 or 4800 hertz or something like that. Yeah, with those hymns from like the Catholicism that they kind of studied, and they're like, they're read in this frequency, and then they kind of just like, most music is in that frequency. No, I get you.
Right. It's kind of like the whole thing where people say like, I guess like the whole like the language of the universe to scientists is mathematics, right? But then if you want to go behind any type of like scholar or whatever you want to say you're trying to use to measure or understand, like the ultimate language is, as you're saying, vibration, frequency, which is music, right? Yeah. If music isn't anything else, it's just vibrating frequencies, right?
Well, the universe is in constant motion,
right?
And that motion is not arrhythmic. There's always a pattern to how even molecules and atoms like move. You know, even we were talking about like this strange phenomena of when like a certain atom moves at a certain way until it's observed, and then its counterpart immediately knows out of fucking nowhere to move the opposite way. And it's this beautiful dance of contradictions that are complementary, that make up the one whole through this kind of like unspoken communication of movement.
And that's literally what's happening with the music. There's a unspoken communication of whatever frequency that's in tune with me or whatever's going on, and then it's coming through me, and I'm manifesting this into sound somehow.
Holy shit!
Because I'm not doing it.
So when did you first know that this was your hunger? Because I can totally relate. So just for those of you that haven't had a chance to be able to watch any of our previous podcasts, or kind of don't recall, we've touched on very briefly on what the idea of content creation is. It goes, like I mentioned before, it goes way far beyond just having an idea and wanting others to do so. Because in my experience, any content creator that I've ever talked to, it's this uneasy feeling, this uncomfortableness that arises from not just being okay with having experienced content, but having that urge to do something for yourself. And that content usually revolves into something that speaks through the audience a far more powerful message than what it's intended. Example, when you see those dancers, those innate dancers that say, you know, dancing is my calling, dancing is what I do. When you watch them perform, it goes well above just like, oh, I like their movement. No, you get a plethora of emotions being transmitted through this emotion, compared to others that maybe just see it as like a lucrative aspects of it. So when did you first experience this hunger for creating songs?
I don't think there was like a point where I'm like, okay, this is something I want to get into. It's more of like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people do things that they're passionate about, and then they have a drive for it, and it turns into almost something like this, right?
Yeah.
Where mine is like, I'm literally like very nonchalant. Like, yeah, every once in a while I'll try to make some music, but I'm not really like consistent with it.
Okay.
So to a point, it's more of I don't know, if I hear something that sounds good, and then like I can build off that, and I'm like, oh shit, now I got an idea, and then I got something on my phone, and then I can go back and, you know, manifest that into something that's more related to me. Kind of like the dancing thing you're saying. In a sense, like you can kind of get to know somebody, not even knowing them, just by seeing them dancing. You're like, okay, I can feel that person. I know who they like. You know what I mean? You can resonate with them. So same thing. I think it's like I don't know, like slowly through time of being more in touch with music, like I'm expressing myself with it. I guess that's the best I can come up with. It's just an expression of, like, if you don't know me, listen to this, you probably might understand a little bit. So
you kind of leave etches or parts of who you are as a person within your music creation.
I mean, you kind of have to a point.
Okay, what do you mean?
I mean, because it's like I don't know, if you want to go on like the whole, like, it's a channel coming through me. Yeah. Even though it's going through me, it has to, like, to go through me, it has to become a part of me, right?
Leave a footprint or something.
Right. So some of me has to go with it, regardless of where it started from, right? So it's like I don't know, almost like I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just a thing that's just I guess it's just expression. It's kind of like the difference between like a belly laugh and like a ha-ha, you know what I mean? Like where that comes from, it's like you don't know, but you can still feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the sound is manifested from the same person, but it carries a different intent. Right. It translates differently. Your ear is able to just pick it up immediately and say, this person's actually laughing and not just reproducing the sound.
Basically. And that's where I'm going. Like, I'm not just trying to like make like a boom clap. Like, I'm actually trying to give you like I don't know, like you said, a piece of me, like I don't want to say like leave a mark on, you know, existence, but like, you know, like if somebody tries to imitate someone's style, you can kind of tell, but at the same time, you can also tell what the original is because it has that like that freshness to it, you know what I mean?
That register, that not blueprint, but that imprint of where this sound has come from. Because here's the thing. So if you think about it in a methodical way, right, there's only an X amount of notes and tunes that exist that we can register in our ear, right? There's a certain frequency range that I should know because I took a class on it, but I totally forgot because, hey, this is how my brain works. So there's a certain frequency range which our ear can operate.
Right.
Music has been in existence since pretty much the dawn of time. And yet we haven't hit a wall where we've said, oh, you know what? I don't need to listen to the new Post Malone song because it sounds exactly like 19th century Beethoven or whatever. You know, it's still within the same limitations of you can't create a new note. All the notes that are there in existence are already there, and almost to some extent, to a point, right? Yeah. And to that same point, there's also a limited amount of arrangements in which you can put the notes to create a harmony, right? So even they're still confined, and yet we have songs that are birthed from these limitations that surpass just what your brain can translate from data into like imagery in your brain that convey complex thoughts, emotions, and messages within you. That to me leads me to believe that music sound on itself goes way above like the material plane.
Oh yeah, you know, it's more astral, if anything. You know?
Astral, okay, yeah.
I mean, because if you think about it, it's kind of like, I mean, like an aura, right?
Okay.
So like, obviously, aura is like something that's kind of like, you know, seen as mystical, but to a certain point, people say they can see it, right? So it's like, if I was to believe I can see auras, it would probably like.
It would look like sound emitting from a body,
right? But like kind of like it would like emulate. You get what I'm saying? Like it would kind of like, you know, like that
like a pulsating.
There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. A pulsating. So it's I think it's on the same level as that because even though we're hearing the music, I mean to a certain point you can also feel it.
Yeah.
So you can also feel that pulsation of energy being emitted.
Well, it's just like heat signatures, right? We our physical body eyes are blinded to seeing the heat of someone. I mean, you can see when someone's hot by you know they're sweating or whatever.
Right.
But it's not like a heat camera, you know, that is able to tell where the heat is specifically is emitting.
Right.
I think that to your point, if we were able to have the sensory organ to be able to see those kinds of sound emanations, right, or hear them, I think that every person, depending on what their lifestyle, their past, what they carry on with, would emanate a different tune, kind of like a different melody.
Well, it's kind of like to kind of connect all of it. I don't know if you ever seen like sometimes people. I'm gonna butcher this because I don't know exactly what it's called, but they have like a psychonic plate, right?
Okay.
And they put like salt on it, whatever, and then they'll put, you know, a tune to a certain frequency, and then it'll make a shape, right?
Yes.
So in my mind, it's kind of like depending on what music is being played and what frequencies are jumbling together. If you were able to, you know, kind of see it in the same sense, you would almost see like a divine geometric, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like, like divine. What do they call it?
I don't know. I'm no scientist.
I can't think of the words. It's like divine geometry or something.
Divine geometry is a thing, yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like the patterns. Like for example, if you were to create a line on how like a molecule works through its thing, like you're able to see like what shape it forms and shit like that.
So I think if you, like, to your point, if you can see music like that, you would see that divine geometry.
Do you think that's the reason why animals are able to tell almost inherently when like not a good person, but when someone comes in with like ill intent, they're usually like reserved or aggressive?
I mean, it's back to the aura thing with us. Like
Yeah.
Even if you don't see the aura, you can kind of feel like, yeah, that person gave me bad vibes.
Well, I'm mainly talking about dogs, like they have an enhanced sense of hearing.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those things like, I mean, if you're going to go scientific on it, it's like if you're scared, they can, your heart beating faster, or if you're nervous or whatever, your body's going to emit a different, chemical.
Yeah, there's physical manifestations of the emotions that you're feeling.
Right.
That they can pick up. And I'm saying like
smell like nervousness, you know what I mean? Like to the
yeah, it's like a compilation of things. But what I'm saying is like I feel like because we and I've said it before, humans have evolved to be able to gather data that ensures their survival. That's why we have things like touch, seeing, hearing, taste, because through those things we can gather information and then not calculate, but enhance our probability of survival, right? That's how our ancestors, what they relied on, and that's how we got this far, right? But it's not just like my boy Neil. We can't spend an episode without saying my boy Neil said it before. The reason why we have such a tough time understanding the cosmos is because we don't have the inherent built-in hardware to be able to accumulate all this data that is in the cosmos. And that's why we create things like telescopes. We create things like machines that can read gamma rays and radiation in space, and then we collect data. We kind of like translate it in ways that our senses can understand, right?
Well,
and I feel like the reason why some animals, because I'm totally now building a pro idea. The reason why some animals can almost seem, not all of them, but can almost tell your intent interacting with it, or even you as a person somehow, because dogs are very perceptive to the people that they are around with, is because they're able to through whatever enhanced senses that they've gone through the ages to even be able to tell like what kind of frequency we're registered in.
Well, I mean, to a certain degree, we can do it too, but we just choose not to. I mean,
do it right now. Do it right now.
Listen to this
right
though.
now. Let's go.
Think about what you just said. Well, I'm not to that level yet.
Right.
As animals have evolved, they have evolved physically and psychically, right?
Right.
So that's why an elephant, a bird, they can be away from wherever they were born and go right back to it because they have built-in GPS. So we've done a thing where instead of evolving psychically, we've evolved physically, and then our psychic evolution we've replaced with physical manifestations, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So instead of knowing where I'm going, I got GPS.
You got GPS,
right?
Yeah.
So instead of being able to see gamma rays or even get to the point where I can register them, I just build an instrument that can. You know what I mean? So that's what we are, in my mind, our breakdown of evolution. Unless we figure it out, we're never going to get to a level of anything close to any other animal because our evolution is only...
It's like stunted?
It's progressing only half. We're doing it in the physical realm, which is manifested from our, our minds, but we're not delving into. Right, we're not using the thing that's being manifesting to elevate.
So the more
ourselves.
We progress technologically,
right,
the more we leave behind the
cyclically. I can't even speak.
Psychically?
Yeah, psychically.
That's crazy. So back to the whole animal thing, right? I thought of this thing. Isn't there a bird that has this kind of like magnetic sensor on its beak, and it could tell like based on like magnetism, almost like a bioengineered compass.
I've never heard of it, but yeah.
And then I think that what happened with that bird is that if there's a lot of like magnetic interference, it loses its way and it no longer knows where like north is or something like that.
Well, it's kind of like to that point, I've never heard that animal, but it's kind of like some people say, like if they live too close to power lines, they can actually feel the energy and it gives them headaches and this and that, right? So
shit!
It's almost like some tribal people, because they're not more in tune with society.
Yeah,
they are the only ones in my mind who kind of are able to get to that level, right? So because of some people like that, I think the lady I heard who was able to actually hear and feel power lines, she was like Native American or something like that, right? So I think to your point about the animals, like it's almost like one of those things where like you have to like see it to believe it type situation. If you don't even believe you're capable of it, it's not going to happen, even if you have the ability, right?
Well, yeah, because you're not looking for it, right?
And you're not in a connection with the same frequency, I guess.
It's kind of like trying to play Find Waldo without realizing you're trying to find Waldo.
Right.
If you're not looking for it, then how are you going to find it? Wow. Yeah, sorry for the very hard veer left.
I mean, we always do.
We always do. There's no way. How long did we last? We lasted like 20 minutes in that rant. But going back to the content creator that Bag of Space Dust is, actually, let's get into it. Where does the name Bag of Space Dust come from? Because that name, from the first moment that I heard it, right, I immediately got the sense that it went beyond the literal like translation of what Bag of Space Dust is, right? Like there has to be something.
I mean, I always go with the goofiness of like you're just a meat body or bag of meat or whatever, but I tried to go more spiritual, I guess, and like, you know, I like the universe, I like space. So I mean, in my mind, I'm just a bag of space dust. I'm a manifestation of whatever existed for eons out, and then it somehow got clumped up in this bag for a little bit.
For a little, just for a minute.
And plus, it sounds dope. So
it does sound dope. Well, what's the acronym that we said it was like? Bag of BOS, boss.
Yeah, I guess boss will work.
Boss.
Single S.
So what's your poison? What kind of music do you create?
I mean, I like everything, but I guess I'm going more on the lines of what we're listening to now, like a mellow lo-fi type situation. I'm also trying to do, I guess, I don't even know what genre would be like. I guess more like anime themed. You know what I mean? Like intros or like fight scenes type.
Okay, so very upbeat, like electronic music.
Mostly.
What calls you out of that genre?
I don't know. I think it's back to like the whole like expression of it, and like even if you've seen something before. And you've seen the music that matches up with it, and then you don't see the visual anymore, you can kind of recreate it with the music because of how it flows.
Oh, 100%.
Same situation. Yeah. It's like something I'm creating right now, I sent to somebody, and like they like, oh, I can actually see what's going on. Like you can see the build up, and like, oh shit, something's about to happen. And like being able to like transmit that to somebody, like, and have them understand it without me even saying it, like that's insane to me. Like,
so through sound, you can kind of already start the process of like manifesting.
You can tell a story.
Yeah, and without even words.
No words.
You can. You know what? That brings chills down my spine, because the perfect example that I'm thinking of is like the Star Wars theme, right? No words. It's just like, you know, I think it's like wind instruments. But as soon as it plays, that first part, that. You already have this sense of grandeur, this sense of adventure.
A voyage, right? Yeah.
A voyage. Yep. Or like the Indiana theme song. You know, like you hear it and you're immediately like are transported in this like against all odds kind of like explorer type. Oh my God, yeah.
That's literally what I'm doing. Trying, I guess. Let's not. Do
you find the reason why you're gravitating to that type of genre is because it's easier for you to convey or put or transmit that little piece of you through that music?
Yeah, because I guess back to the whole like frequency and communing with stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, life, whatever you want to call it, this is some type of journey. You know, some type of exploration. Like nobody knows what the hell they're doing. We're all trying to figure it out, and like you know. Figured out on the way, right? So to a point, I'm trying to almost like create I don't want to say a world or a realm of that experience. Like, even though you're on this journey, just fucking dance and enjoy the music as you go. Like, that's
no matter what may come.
You're on a path. Okay, it's a nice path. Skip down it. All right, now you're on a dirt road. I guess you got to walk a little different.
You got to do the thriller theme dance too.
But that's what I'm trying to create. That like. It's like one of those things, like there's certain songs, like I'm sure you can relate. There's certain songs, like you can be having a bad day, but you put that song on,
and it transforms.
Your moods change, right? So same situation where like, even if you're in a bad mood, you want to cry, you should be able to dance while you're crying and still have like a heightened level of like, you know, I don't know, I don't want to say relief, but like a, you know, like it'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
Be able to express emotion beyond just what your body is innately to. And I think, you know, that's a very powerful thing that I don't think most of us realize, right? Our predisposition for emotional register or emotional output, right, is very minimal.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's we're taught not to be dramatic. So our body compresses all these complex emotions that we can't sometimes even put into words. Sometimes you feel and you can't express it with words because that feeling goes beyond what words can express. But then we're immediately taught that if you're to show those emotions through an act of like bodily movement, like a kid throwing a tantrum, what do we do with that child? We immediately tell it to stop.
Right.
Because that's childish. So we're immediately suppressing the amount of output, the emotions input into us. And yet now we're coming into, I think, an age where we're realizing that emotional suppression has very much a physical reaction to you. The more you bottle things up, the less you're able to show your emotion to as close as possible, the more damage it can have.
Oh yeah, it's detrimental, honestly. I mean,
Completely.
think about Snapped or any of those, shows where people you get to a point where you've suppressed something so much that, some people black out and wake up and
Holy shit.
terrible things have happened because,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where I hate to veer off a little bit, but everybody thinks you're supposed to be innately good and this and that. That's not even possible in my mind because you're a manifestation of everything. Like, regardless if you think you're a good person, bad person, whatever, you're all of it. You can't be good without bad. It all happens at the same time. So unless you kind of fully embody who you are and kind of accept the good parts, the bad parts, and then kind of bring it together as a whole, that's when you get into those situations where you might get mad at somebody and you lose it for a second because you're not in tune with that part of you and you haven't related to it yet. You know what I mean?
Right. If you keep shutting the door on someone, it's only going to make it more curious onto what's on the other side. What are you protecting so closely? And I think that our subconscious response to us always, and I mean this in the most literal sense, always suppressing our full spectrum of emotions. It's only a buildup to finally just not have the means to be able to hold those type of things back to the point where if instead that manifestation was just to have a loud outburst in an argument, now it drags along all those other things that you've suppressed throughout the years, and you have that thing where like you said, you black out and then you do all you do unspeakable things because of all that emotional regression that you have to contend with.
No, totally. That's why I mean, this, I'm an odd person compared to the rest of society. I often just let out screams just
one more time. What was it?
No, seriously, every once in a while I think you need to like you're saying, subconsciously just suppress emotion.
Have an outlet.
Right, because you're trying to be suitable for society or whatever it is. So every once in a while you have to have the outlet so you don't get to that point of bottled up emotion or whatever it is.
So you feel like creating music lets you have exhaust. What are those things where that channel heat away from
an outlet almost,
like an outlet to be able to
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's it's almost like self-therapy. I know a lot of people say this, but
self-soothing.
No, self-therapy, because you have to come to a point, if you want to be real with yourself and I guess even vulnerable, you have to just be able to express yourself and let it out without, I guess you can care about what people think, but it has to almost be just go for it. Not
worry whether or not what you're creating is good or not, but whether or not it captures who you are.
Exactly. It's you're not trying to, if you're trying to be an artist and it's your job, I get that, but I think you need to start with the expression of you versus is this gonna sell or are people gonna like it? You know what I mean?
Well, holy shit! Look at the connectivity in these podcast episodes, and I've always said that I know I'm on the right journey by creating this kinds of media when things seem to tie up. We talked about ego death, right? Ego death meaning the idea that your image of self isn't important. And the image that you put out of self to others isn't important. What's important is true self, right? Yeah. And you can't get to true self if you're constantly trying to be introspective and outrospective at the same time. You can only get to your true self by experiencing an unfiltered and unalterated version of self. Almost as if you take yourself out of your body and observe how your body naturally is. In like layman's term, right? And I feel, holy shit, I feel that ties in to this specifically, content creation, right? Your content can't transmit what you want to have transmitted, as long as you're so focused on already hitting these targets, these genres, contained in a box. You need to let your content be. Just be.
Let
it out.
Don't have a goal, have a purpose.
Exact. Oh my God, you know what I mean? that is right on.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say with my music. I don't have a goal of like I want to make this song, I want to get to this point. I'm just if something comes to me, calls to me, I'm like, okay, I got my phone, I record a little bit of sound or words or whatever, and then I can build off that, and then I don't even know what it's gonna end, like what it's gonna be, because I'm not trying to be like, all right, I want it to be 6 minutes long, I want it to have this rhythm. Like, no, I'm just letting it flow out. You know what I mean? You're being both the creator and audience to your content. Seriously. At the same time. It's insane because like I'll make something, play it back, and like I'll get giddy.
Be surprised,
like,
yeah.
Oh shit! Like,
oh, I snapped.
Like, well, what did I just make?
That's kind of like what I was talking about in one of our first episodes of Between a Red and Blue Pill, right? That this idea that I was embarrassed at first of going back to our previous recordings and listening to them, and then I get excited because I'm like, holy shit! Oh my God, what they're talking about is really hitting. But then I realize it's me. I'm talking about it, right? But in the moment of recording, and even now, I'm not experiencing my podcast as an audience member. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I've been able to train my mind to turn off that whatever. I picture it very much like a recording camera, right? As soon as I hit record, I'm no longer seeing like the in the moment thing. I'm just the camera kind of like producing an audio image and like reproducing it to a video output. It's only when I finish the edits that I go back and listen to them that I kind of feel the weight of what the content is.
Oh yeah, I mean, because in the moment, like that's why I try to start you off with, I mean, I hope you get it now, just the conversation, because I mean,
100%,
kind of like how we were before, like we weren't trying to talk about anything interesting or crazy, and that's just what it was. So that's why I keep trying to tell people, like, I'm not trying to make music, like you shouldn't be trying to make a successful podcast. You should be trying to make content that relates to you, and then through that, you know, pure manifestation of you and expression, something or somebody or some group of people are going to commune with it, and then boom, you're going to get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm making money, and wait, what's happening? You know what I mean?
Wait, excuse me, you're giving me how much?
But then you can't.
You sure?
That's the key thing that, I mean, I know a lot of people say it, but that's the key thing you can't lose. You can't lose that drive to have that purpose and then change it to the drive to be successful. You know what I mean? Okay. You got to stick to that. I don't want to say stick to your main, you know, what you started with, because obviously you're going to evolve, but at the same time, I don't know, cliche-ish, but stay true to you.
Okay. Well, bringing it back to your origin story and this massive sound superhero that is Bag of Space Dust, right? Coming to you in stores soon. What parts of your upbringing, you know, of your childhood past, would you say had a clear, defined change or push towards the type of content that you're creating now?
I mean, honestly, I've never even thought about that, but I don't think childhood had anything to do with it, to be honest.
Oh, my man, suppressing hard, huh?
No, because if I think about it, like, I mean, obviously I'm African American. Like, my childhood, like, it's a lot of soul music. It's a lot of, you know, same, I don't want to say same genre, but same, you know, feel to the music. You know what I mean? So it's like, nowadays I listen to everything. I listen to fucking bachata, opera, reggaeton. I listen to anything, you know, rock. whatever. So like I think I started off just understanding and having a loving for music, and then once I kind of like broadened my spectrum and just had the understanding of music as a whole, then I got interested in like, okay, oh shit, I can create this, or I can combine this to create, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like you said, like once I realized the possibilities of patterns are endless, it interested me to be like, what can I make that doesn't exist?
Well, you said something I don't think you realize. You're saying that you don't think your childhood had a lot of impact into your music creation now. But if you turn it back, soul music is a very, very powerful genre of music. It comes from a time where groups of people were being suppressed in more than one way. And their one outlet, their one exhaust,
I guess I never thought about
was to create music.
Yeah.
And through that manifestation of emotion, through this like music, you're able to almost come close to understand what they went through.
Yeah, you said
and then you're submersed into that aspect of music, and then that's when the fire got lit. That's when your subconscious understanding of music going beyond this medium of entertainment and this language of things beyond started to it started down the path.
No, you're right.
And now you have this this higher understanding of what music and sound is. And I think, honestly, man, I mean, I don't want to tell you what to think and do.
You're telling my origin story?
But my man, I think that a big part of your understanding comes from when you were a kid and you would listen to these powerful messages that were encaptured through song. And you're like, you know, like you're in the back of your subconscious, you're like, that, but more, please.
I think that's I mean, now that you put in those words, I think that's also what the dancing comes from, like seeing somebody like express themselves, like if you've heard a song before, you know the beat. I mean, you don't know it like, you know, by heart, but you know it to a certain degree, you know. But if you see somebody dance to it and you see them like create moves with their body that you didn't like, it matches to the sound, but you didn't realize that it could, and then you start hearing different sounds that you've never heard in the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what wakes that up and makes it like, oh shit, like that's been playing in the background, not even hear that, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that I don't know, that just I get drawn to that, and it's like almost like I want to say a yearning, but it's almost like you see something off in the distance, and it's like gleaming, and you're like, ooh, what's that? Like you know what I mean?
Ooh, shiny.
Right, basically.
Bird brain goes, shinies are good. Usually I ask people in this segment, you know, Red's Rabbit Hole, how have their family influenced, or how have their family supported their pursuit on their musical or just content career? Reason being is because a lot of the times, especially in this new era of entertainment, where creating content is seemingly so easy.
Oh yeah.
And blowing up and going viral is just before it was a matter of hard work. You know, knowing the right people, getting the right people to notice you, to be able to have a chance to even have some level of exposure, right? Now we have on the go thing that you can buy for X amount of money, take it to a hookah lounge, purchase one hookah, and have microphones talking, and now your message is out there, right?
Yeah.
So now we go from having that, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, but having that like natural filter onto something had to be already innately so good that it caught producers' attentions to even be out there, to now having this plethora of different content out there that sometimes our family members, meaning well, will say things like, well, you know, what are you doing to secure your financial future instead of pursuing this hobby, right? That's usually where the birth of that question is coming from. So did you find that your family or those that are close to you, how did they respond to noticing? Because it's a noticeable change when someone starts really delving into creating content in a more in a way beyond just trying to be the next PewDiePie or trying to be the next, podcaster or whatever. How did those close around you react when they started seeing that physical manifestation of your brainchilds into reality?
I mean, I keep to myself, so like I guess family, in general doesn't really know much. I mean, I tell them I mess around with music, but like you said, it's more of a hobby. But my girl, I mean, obviously she lives with me, so with her, it's like, I think she was like, okay, he's just, messing around every once in a while. But once she saw me like making more stuff, and I'm like, hey, listen to this, what does it sound like? And she's like, oh, this actually sounds good. Like it's decent.
She with that, oh, you made this?
She's like, oh,
what is by?
You can count. But no, I think it's like one of those things like, I don't know, sometimes we do need that reassurance of like, am I doing something that's worth something, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I've never even worried about it. It's like, I think she's seeing the expression of me, like kind of like back to the suppressing thing.
Yeah.
Like once you start doing that, more of who you are actually starts coming out. So I don't know, your true personality, or I guess how you want to, I guess, express yourself in the world comes out more than just like who you're supposed to be in society and how you're supposed to act. You know what I mean?
So instead of finding a predetermined place of where people say you need to be in life, you're finding your own true self by experiencing life as you should experience.
Right. I mean, think about it. Most artists are, some people wait until they get to a certain point so they can like fully express themselves, because what if they want to get another job? Bullshit, right? But I mean, they got different color hair, tattoos on their face. You know what I mean?
Like my boy Shaq.
Right. Like full. But full expression. My man's
an artist. Like, have you seen his music?
I've seen him DJ a little bit, but I didn't know he could.
He has a couple rap songs. Yeah. And honestly, here's the thing. I've seen clips of Shaq play. He was a beast of a man in court, right? Bro. No, I mean like as an artist with basketball, right?
Right, yeah.
But when you see him in his earlier rap days, right?
Yeah.
It's not. You won't say, "Oh wow, this guy's blowing me out of the water," but the visceral energy he puts in the music, even in his like directed music videos, you can tell right away that this is like what inside him wanted to do.
Right.
This is what he's choosing to do. Not what was easier for him, or not easier, not what came to him naturally to do in order to be financially stable. But if now that he has the choice of not worrying about money, he's choosing to do music because that's his language.
Right. And I think that's what the breakdown is. Like, that's why, like, to your point, you shouldn't, like I was saying about how people express themselves when they get to a certain status. Like, you shouldn't have to wait till you get to that point of security or whatever you believe security is to be like, okay, now I can be myself. Like, and I guess I'm being hypocritical because I guess I'm attempting to do it, but at the same time, I'm almost doing the opposite, not caring about the money and just saying, okay, let me try to go towards this and fuck that. But obviously in society, it's going to kind of clash. But I mean, I think to a point, I think I even told you this, if you put your life energy into something that you believe and like that you actually want to do, it's almost impossible for you not to gain something out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, every time I edit and I'm about to post any episode, I hold a small seance and prayer to my God, Rodecaster Pro, and the acolytes that are the pod mics. All hail Rode, and they're miraculous. Please sponsor my videos.
You hit up their Facebook.
Yeah, hit up my Facebook. Touching up on this a little bit beyond, I strongly feel that the reason why you're able to so truly understand the difference between the importance of doing what you like and doing what you must, and realizing that these two entities aren't opposing to each other. Because when you truly understand what you have to do, you realize is what you want to do.
Right.
Because the only the only must in this realm of reality is the one that you predispose to yourself. And I think the reason why you're able to do that is because at one point in your life, through the experience of emotion through music, like you've been doing, you realize that it's no longer about the physical aspect of you.
Right.
It's 100% about the you that goes way beyond the one that is in this place at this time in this moment at the right here right now.
That's well put in layman terms.
Well, excuse me for not being...
It was well put for everybody to understand. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think sometimes I try to say it too spiritual, and people are like, the fuck is this guy talking about?
Because you're the combination of everything that came before you, and you are part of everything that will be beyond.
Yeah.
And your music is your way to put a bookmark in this giant fucking story that is existence, right? And that's why the only way that you're able to truly register that, to truly make, I feel like the artists that have truly made an impact in the musical universe are those that have just managed to like click and just almost like regurgitate the entirety of themselves into this song that for whatever reason people go like, oh my god, they changed the game forever. Well, it's because their game was always the change.
Right, exactly.
We just happened to be lucky enough to be experiencing that change because to them music was always this. It ain't nothing. He wasn't, he or she wasn't sitting down in a studio saying like, "Oh my God, I'm about to change things forever." No, they were always combating this idea of getting close to sharing how they see, how they perceive, how they understand that genre to themselves, and it just happened to just grace it right on the surface at the right time for them to put it out, and people are now like, "Oh my God."
Yep.
I mean, like, for example, Eminem, right? Like, rap before had this sense of, like, rebellion and, like, angst, right? But when Eminem comes along and he raps in a way that transmits this emotion of hurt, like, if you hear some of his stuff, it's not always praising how tough he is or how far he's come. No, it's real.
Yeah.
I hear Eminem's rap and I can almost picture him telling this to like a therapist or a shrink and telling him this is why I struggle. And I'm by no means I'm a connoisseur of music, right? I'm just open to the idea that there are things that are go beyond what they're physically said.
Right.
And what I get from artists like him that changed rap or helped change rap is that vulnerability that he transmitted through his music.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can say the same. Even though I like Juice WRLD more, I get that exact feeling from XXXTentacion.
Oh,
like him,
yeah.
like the way you can feel like
sadness,
every
like,
expression, like like what his mood was when he made that song. Or
bro,
what
when he went through a breakup, I felt like I went through I was like, oh, that bitch left us. Oh, hell no.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like it's shit like that. Like he's not making. I mean, he's entertaining, but he's not entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's not finding the right words for his song. He's finding the right words for the emotions he wants to say in the song.
Right words, right everything. Like the combination of feel this.
The rhymes, the words, the diction is just the vehicle to transport what he wants, what he's feeling and wanting to share. And it just happens to rhyme or to have a melody.
Basically.
And I think that's a very integral part onto how we can find or how we can tell that what we're creating is right. Because I feel like innately you have that ability of saying like, yeah, dude, I know I'm making music and I know is the right type of making music because I'm not accommodating my creative style to anyone else but to myself. Yeah. I'm not making something I don't mean. Right? Yeah. And that's the same here. I'm not going off and having a script or preparing, like having 2 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours throughout the week of like research and stuff like that. Not that there is anything wrong with that, right?
Right.
But my main intent with this podcast is not so much to inform or to teach, but to invoke emotion of content creation.
Right.
I want to share, this is the level of emotional registry that a medium can do, and you can do it too. Because if you have the drive, if your first instinct in hearing these sets of words is like, okay, but how? Right. Then that already means that you already have all the tools. Like our outro. You have all the tools, all the arsenal, all the weapons already in you. Mm-hmm. All you have to do, the niche, the quote unquote complicated part, is finding the how.
Right.
Not the what, the how.
I think a lot of people, it's back to the subconscious thing. A lot of people don't realize it because it is subconscious. Like everything that's waiting to, I don't want to say manifest or, come up, it's also being suppressed by what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to act in society, So I think it's the whole content creator thing blowing up. I think it's allowing some people, obviously some people are still, set back in it, but it's allowing people to actually realize that they can just literally do whatever. Like I keep saying it, like playing video games is a successful job now. Like
it is. Not just esports, not just like professional.
Right. Like Twitch and everything.
You could be just a random guy mediocre at video games.
Yes.
But your passion through whatever one game that let you to play on Twitch is translated through 1,000, 10,000 people.
Right.
And now you have a following. And they're not following because of that video game, because guess what? They can buy it too and play it. They're watching your emotions being manifested as you play.
And that's the type of thing I try to tell people. Like obviously someone started that, and they had the drive to keep going, and maybe they did care about the money, but I'm positive that's not what started it, because there's no way they thought they would even get to a point of where things are now. So it's the same thing. It's like if you start there, then unless you're just not putting your all into it, and I fully believe that if you put your all into it, it's impossible for you not to get somewhere with it.
Yeah, consequences be damned.
Yeah, regardless if it's like millionaire or whatever. I mean, if you want to live comfortably and enjoy what you're doing, do it. That simple.
What are some of the things that you would say, I mean, besides the obvious that we've been talking about, set your content apart from any other content creator? What's the one thing that you innately say, like, this is my fingerprint, this is my musical registry that you're able to distinguish apart from anyone else that that are currently doing music production or music creation?
I mean, I think I'm trying to, like, I know a lot of people do things by ear. Like, there's a couple guitarists, I think John Mayer and a couple other people, like, they play by ear, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, in company with just, like, not trying to, like, use or recreate something that already exists. Like, obviously people use samples and this and that. Like, if I'm gonna do something in that, genre, I'm gonna go like outside and record like a bird or something that's like natural, and then incorporate that, right? I know. So
no stock sounds,
right? So like I'd rather do something like, I'm trying to do like a full organic thing, because like even when you're making a music, like you have options where you can like make the sound more mechanical or make it sound more natural, quantize it. So it's like I try to keep it as natural as possible, and those imperfections, leave them, because even though you hear them, it's part of the flow of the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's imperfectly perfect, you know what I mean?
It's real.
Right. So I try to stay on that lane versus like trying to create something that's going to be, pleasant to like a pattern or a rhythm that already exists.
Listen, Space. All right. Every time I talk to you, I feel the weight of the message you convey every single time. And sometimes I think you say things and you don't realize what you say until like they're broken down, right? At first, we talked about the beautiful harmony that is the sound of existence, right? It is this constant search of how can we replicate the sound of everything into music by even doing things as detailed as matching a frequency that harmonizes with the frequency of the universe.
Right.
But you and your meta breaking bullshit go around and say, well, if it's already there, why can't I just fucking record it? as is.
I mean,
as it already exists. There's no need to recreate it from fucking scratch because it's already there.
Basically.
Like you understand the potency of what your music holds. We talk about leaving your imprint in it, right? But that's self.
Right.
You take the idea of ego death and you're injecting it into your music, because I've known you for a minute now. And your idea of self is the idea that I'm not the one. I am part of everything.
Yeah.
To its purest form.
Yeah.
And having your content revolve around that singular idea speaks volumes. Because the reflection of how you see yourself is how you create content. Why? Because the medium in which you manifest things that you create into reality is a reflection of what you perceive reality to be.
Yeah, I never thought
and
about
your
that.
your immediately gut reaction is not, I'm going to inject myself into this music, is I'm going to record the things that I perceive around myself, and I'm going to be their medium into creation.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, you just touched on something that was actually really good. Like, it's already there. Like, I don't think people realize, like, that's everything. Like, even the content you want to create or whatever you want to do, it's already there. You just, I mean, I don't want to say you haven't connected with it or, you know, recorded it, but it's all already there. Like, whatever you, like, kind of your point of me being connected to everything, you're connected to whatever you already don't think you aren't. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
Wait, hold on. You're going to have to say that one more time.
You're connected to what you think you aren't. Like, regardless if it's like this, like, okay, right now, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You were already connected to this and doing this 10 years ago. You just didn't realize it because you weren't.
Everything.
You get what I'm saying?
Everything that you've experienced has directly led up to this moment.
For a point.
Right here, right now.
Right.
There's not
You're
a
already
single.
doing it.
There's not a single event, no matter how mundane or minute, that has happened that, if change, wouldn't have led you here.
It's like this. It's back to like everything being one. It's not separate things, right? It's all one process. So whatever you were doing before was part of the process to be here, and then this is part of the process to get there, which is already this, right? So same thing. Even though the music already exists, I'm not bringing it into existence. I'm just part of the process of it being heard. You get what I'm saying?
You're just manifesting it.
Right.
You just happen to be the on channel that happened to be flipped.
Right. It's like a light bulb. A light bulb isn't creating the you know?
No.
It's part of the process to have you see the light.
And yet we accredit the light bulb all the time.
Right.
We're like, oh man, there's no likeness. Oh, well, the light bulb, just turn it on. No, the electricity is constantly running. There's energy being output whether or not there's a light bulb in the socket.
Right.
The light bulb just happens to act as a medium to translate that energy into light.
Everybody's looking for a light bulb, man.
Everyone's looking for a light bulb. No one is.
They already got the energy.
Paying attention that it's about the socket. It's about the thing that allows the light bulb to be bright.
Right.
The light bulb is the content. Oh, I want to be famous. Oh, I want to be recognized on the internet, brother. It goes far beyond that. You already have everything.
Everything, man.
Just realize that you're the medium.
Yep.
Listen, bro. I didn't bring the excavation tools to dig this deep this fast. Okay, my man. We've
hey.
every time that I encounter individuals such as yourself that I know share my understanding of content creations beyond just the monetary or the audience, beyond this space and time. There's a curious phenomena that happens, and that's the distortion of space and time. Something that we can measure that seemingly bends while it experiences such a strong output and input of this, I think, like harmonizing with like the frequency of existence. Because I just looked down, I swear to you, the last time I looked at my recording clock, it was like 15 minutes. I look down and it's an hour and 4 minutes. And I'm like, I have not been here an hour and 4 minutes. Right? And I think that content creators like yourself who truly understand the grandeur of creating content can attest to this. I'm sure you have experienced moments where you're making this music and you're so into it, and then suddenly, like, dude, it's like midnight. It's like 3 in the morning. Like,
right,
where has the time have gone by? Like, it's crazy to me.
It is. Now that you say that, it is like, if it's almost back to, call back to, energy signatures, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like you have created a realm that time almost doesn't exist. You get what I'm saying? Like,
or that travels differently.
Right. If you're, it's like almost like kind of like what we went with the wormhole thing. I mean, not the wormhole. The 2 black holes in between.
Oh, call back to Neil.
Same thing though. It's like if you create a space of any type of creation manifestation.
Yeah.
You are. I'm gonna butcher this because I'm making up as I go. But you're creating a
distortion.
I don't want to say distortion, but you're creating an area where energy isn't worrying about moving through time. You get what I'm saying? Because, like, think about it. Our whole reality is based on time and how we even perceive things, measure things. It's this far away. It would take my hand this far. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Well, we know the direct correlation between gravity and time, right? Where there is gravity, time is affected, right? And what you're saying is, it kind of works in that same way, that the amount of energy that is being manifested through you for your creative outlet is so great, then the time itself begins to bend just the same way as the magnitude of energy accumulated for that content increases. Like a black hole.
Creating a black hole, you're creating denseness.
Holy shit, you're creating a distortion in space and time. That kind of like solidifies more the idea that content creation just goes above and beyond just thinking up of cool things that are trendy. Like real content creation has that distortion. Right. Because it wasn't just me that felt it, I'm sure. I'm sure you're surprised by being like, oh yeah, like or we've had episodes when we're like, that didn't feel like an hour.
Right.
That generally just felt like we were just sitting and talking, and then like I realized the time, and then I've heard you say, oh shit, it's like this PM already, and it's this localized like phenomena that brings me this innate curiosity to be like, creating content creation, the manifestation of the ideas on a physical realm has to have an inclination beyond just wanting to be famous or wanting to create something or wanting your ideas, because then it wouldn't affect it like that.
Nah, what you're saying is making too much sense, because if you think about it, I guess I have to, go back and say I was wrong. We are, how do I word this? Okay, obviously we are ourselves, like we're part of our mind or brain, whatever you want to say, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's so much subconscious things that are going on that we're not involved with. Kind of like, even though we're creating global warming, the earth is going to figure shit out and, kind of heal itself. Same thing.
It will persevere.
Right. So same thing. Everything's part of everything. Even though we're doing this physical thing and going into technology, in some form, our minds, because we're all one collective, consciousness, it's gonna figure out a way to elevate itself psychically, right? So that's where content creation comes in, because even though, even though we're not doing it in that way, in a content creation way, we are psychically elevating ourselves, because, like, to a certain point, you have to have a quiet mind or a quiet brain to, get into that. It's almost like we were saying with that rip in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have that rip in reality. You have that rip in reality where if you're going to pull something from somewhere else and be that channel, you have to kind of stop and quiet everything.
Yeah, you can't fill a glass that's already full.
Right.
You have to empty it.
You have to have an emptiness to, be able
to become the vessel.
Right.
And only when we're creating content that we're allowing our vessels to be emptied, to be full, but whatever
your mind's
it
not
is we're
going,
creating.
Your full awareness and intention is in that.
Blue.
You know what I mean?
Blue. Holy, sorry, not blue. Bag of space dust.
I mean, whatever. It's both.
You opened a direct line to my brain and are just fucking with it left and right. Okay,
that's what I'm here for.
You're downloading files that I can't even like. Have you ever tried?
Where do I store this?
Have you ever tried to download like a file on your computer and then Windows is like, hey, you don't have a correct app to translate. Would you like to download some new ones? I'm constantly getting those windows in my fucking brain and I'm just like, I don't even know what to do. Where am I getting this? This is, it is some powerful stuff. I'm so happy. Look at the look at the mundane, the non-mundane coincidence, right? Usually we have a co-host on between Red, Blue, and Envy, right? Envy can't be here. On the way here, I struggle with the idea of how I'm gonna reconcile a new dynamic of the podcast to be able to make up for the lack of our other host. We talk about music. Something that we've always talked about before our podcast, about how you're creating this new thing and you're going to create, I'm going to say it on record because I'm going to hold you to it. You're going to create like an intro to the podcast and stuff like that.
I told you, I'm always going to match your energy, have I not?
And out of that conversation comes our deep dive into a Red's rabbit hole, who I usually only hold or host when I do my homework into content creators, and it's a hard task because some people cancel on us. There's the availability stuff. Yeah. But this shit just fell into place so fucking perfectly.
It's what we said before we started.
And it's
just go with this shit. It happens the way it's supposed to.
And it happens at the dawn of your boy saying, I'm just gonna go with it. I'm not gonna expect shit happening. I'm not gonna have a plan on how things are gonna happen. I'm just gonna be open to the idea of when they happen, they're happening. And then this shit happens, and we have, I want to say, one of our most thought-provocative like episodes of Red's Rabbit Hole. Somewhere where like it was almost like when we went with my boy that streams the video game. Like we went well beyond just like the institution of content creators and how your first introduction into what you're gonna do for the rest of your life isn't, hey, you want to know when you're in the right path of figuring out what's the right shit for you to do is when you feel this. But instead, we're taught you can either be this, or that. And the more money you want to make, the harder it is for you to get there. So you better start now. And we cut the clips of creativity almost from the get-go.
Right. I mean, like you said before, you said it perfectly. I'm not trying to teach anybody anything. I'm not trying to, have somebody be like, oh, this is just thought-provoking. It's to get you to open up your mind or your ability to do what you want to do, regardless of what society says is right, what works. Literally do what the fuck you, whatever it is. I don't care what it is, anything. My boy Neil said it best, and this is my favorite quote from him, and I always butcher it, but I don't give a fuck. Right? In the grand scheme of the cosmos, you're so goddamn insignificant that you have the freedom and ability to be whatever the fuck you want. If a star stops being a star, a solar system ceases to exist. If you stop doing a 9 to 5, what is the worst consequences that can happen? I mean, to kind of go woo-woo, but what if you become a star? What if you become just be a star? Have a solar system around you. And that's what that's what we create once we find a purpose, bro. People have been people that I don't even talk to have now, as soon as I made, like the day I made that decision of just allowing things to happen and just being the instrument in which things are happening, not being the source of the happening, people hit me up and say, hey, I have this idea, can you help me out? Hey, I need to do this for this, do you have the equipment, can you help me? I was begging people
to allow me to help them out with any kind of project when it comes to content creation before. And now that I surrender myself to the idea that whatever's gonna happen has already happened, I'm just experiencing in real time, is now where I have so much in my fucking plate and I'm so happy about it.
Right.
But now it's my brain is just like, well, not that one. Hold on. That one, like crazy. You know, and man, this has been a very, very special episode of Rhett's Rabbit Hole, and I hope, and I'm telling you this, right? I'm being your literal call to action. This was meant for you. That's right, you, the one that is with your headphones right now, listening to this, wondering whether or not this is your call to action. Well, this is the universe saying whether or not you should pull the trigger on the thing that you wanted to execute. Well, guess what, fucker? This is. So get off your ass and do the thing that you know that you have to do.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I know some people have the issue of, I don't want to say insecurity, but like they're not, sure, is it going to work, this and that. You can always go back to doing what you're doing. Like, what is it going to hurt to try? Even if you fail, I mean, I don't think anybody can fail if they're going to put their, all into it or any type of life energy. But you can always go back. You
already tried the 9 to 5.
Right.
What's stopping you from going back if things fail, right?
Exactly.
Without further ado, it's outro time. We might not know you. We might not know your struggles. We might not know you on a personal level. But what we do know is that you have every tool, weapon, knowledge, and arsenal already in you, because you're the culmination of things that have happened way before you came into existence, and you are the memory and representation of things that have happened way above forward in time. And if you haven't heard it today, I am very honored to be the one that tells it to you. I'm so proud of all the decisions that you've made that has led you up to this point in time. Even if it's something as mundane as getting up from bed, because you chose to do so. It was your choice. And I know more than anyone how hard those mundane, seemingly unimportant decisions can be, but you made them. Even if it was deciding to stay in bed, more power to you, because you're doing something that you want, regardless of whatever anyone says that you have to do. And I'm proud of you. And you're going far, and you'll go even further, and you got this. But also get off your ass and do the thing that you were wanting to do. And I'll see you on the next one. Honestly, I will. I'm very excited about the direction of the podcast, and I can't wait for you guys to partake in this bullshit odyssey that we're just going through. And I say bullshit not in the sense that our words don't have meaning, but they won't have rhyme, they won't have reason. And the more you try to explain it and connect it, the more you're gonna go like, what the fuck? Because that's how the universe works, right? Anything you got for us, Blue?
I mean, I guess some words of wisdom. Just let the universe express itself through you and enjoy the beauty,
By beauty, he means me. I'm beautiful.